All right, well, here we are in study 15 of Colossians, and today we're going to be looking at chapter 4, verse 2 to verse 6. And before we do, we'll answer the questions from chapter 3, verse 18 to chapter 4, verse 1. Now, these three relationships that we're going to be looking at are to be more and more characterized by all the characteristics that believers are called to put on in chapter 3, verse 10 to 17, and less by the characteristics that believers are called to put off in chapter 3, verse 5 to verse 9. So the first one was the husband and wife relationship, a marriage relationship with Christ working his character through the husband and through the wife, will have the wife gladly respecting her husband, understanding his role and his accountability before God as the leader of the home, and it will have the husband gladly loving his wife sacrificially and without conditions, treating her gently and patiently. I encourage you to go and read Ephesians 5, verse 22 to 33, and 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 to 7. Number two then, a family relationship. A family relationship with Christ working his character through the parent and through the child will have the child gladly obeying their parents, understanding their God-given authority and stewardship, and will have the parents graciously, lovingly, and patiently teaching and raising their children. Go and read also Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 to verse 4. And then question 3, a work relationship with Christ working his character through the master and the bondservant, or in today's world, through the employer and the employee, will have the bondservant or employee gladly obeying with integrity and diligence, even when the boss isn't looking, and will have the master or the employer gladly treating the bondservant or employee with justice and fairness as a brother in Christ. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5 to verse 9. Now, we're not comfortable with this idea of masters and bondservants in the 21st century, but these teachings are going to eventually revolutionize the empire and their view of slavery. But for now, it's infiltration, as people are treating people differently because of what Christ is doing in those relationships. So now we're going to be doing study 15, chapter 4, verse 2 to verse 6. And Paul now deals with his and our relationship with unbelievers and with society. So question 1, what should we be diligent in? Chapter 4, verse 2. Question 2, what is Paul's prayer request? Chapter 4, verse 3 to 4. And question 3, how are we called to treat unbelievers? Chapter 4, verse 5 to verse 6. God bless.